Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts, Brandon, Colin, and Aaron. On this week's show, Uncanny Valley Chimp. Sorry for running a bit late. I had the immense horror of looking at the my other podcast to realize that somebody's name was misspelled in the title, and I was super embarrassed and had to get that changed really quickly.
That's fair. It's fair, right?
What I did was I did copy paste, but I accidentally hit the V again, and so their name ended in a V when it wasn't supposed to.
Okay, then.
I was like, I had to quickly find that. And I was like, that's not how you spell their name. Oh, that's what I did. Oops. Glad I found that.
You know, it's fine. Probably.
It's fine. I have officially, so I don't know if you remember, but the old host, my old host on that one, completely kicked the bucket.
Yes, went kaput, I believe, is the official phrase.
Put kaput. And I had to switch hosts. Well, one thing about that is I had a bespoke embedded player from the old host on every single episode webpage. And so I had not gone back and changed those out. And this is now coming up on 3 months. And so I was still paying for the other host and was like, I need to do this.
Did it work?
Yeah. So I went through and had to delete the old code, go find the new one from the new host, copy that code, paste it in, then go back and forth and back and forth. And it took me 45 seconds per episode to do that. And I had 290 episodes to
there's
do.
A lot of episodes on there. So
so every 10 to 15 episodes, because sometimes I forget, I would stand up and I would do like 20 jumping jacks or like a couple of I was just like,
calisthenics, right?
No, I really was of like, I cannot be sitting for this long. And I busted through and like 3.5 hours later, it was done. So just straight through. It's not fun. I don't recommend. Please, nobody do that. But
it doesn't sound particularly fun. That doesn't.
No. I was very, very unfun. So don't recommend. Don't recommend.
No. So it's all right.
No, and of course, after you do, like, again, how many sets of 10 episodes am I doing with 290? 29. And so by the time you're up to 29 sets and you've been doing 15 to 20 jumping jacks each time, shoulders hurt a bit.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. I'm a bit, I'm hurting.
Oh my goodness.
Which is not, it makes you feel real bad when you're like, I did it felt like just doing a couple jumping jacks because I didn't do, 300 in one go. It was over the course of 3 hours that I did this.
True,
and I was like,
but
I don't think that was good. I think I did the wrong thing.
I have become broken now.
I really did. I was like, that was wrong. Oh well. No, but it's done now. Hooray.
Hooray.
I am very
well, that's very exciting.
Yes, it is. It is. And I'm so close to inbox 0 with my emails. I'm so close. It's so frustrating.
Oh, I'm never at 0 because I have a bunch of junk mail that I'll look at it and go, no, I don't want that, and then I'll forget to delete it, and then just be like, meh, whatever.
Well, and I use my email a lot for things like reminders of like to-dos. Like I have a couple emails in here of like, I have to save that one that I got from this company, and that's going to be my reminder to go do something or whatever, so that I can keep track of where that information is. But then sometimes I don't do it, and it's not important.
Good theory, but
exactly. Theoretically, oh my gosh. Oh,
that sounded horrible. Did you just die? What on earth was that?
Just this cough that's come kind of out of nowhere and it's been exacerbated now that the weather's like, you know what? It does need to be 9 degrees again. That's what I need. And
I know.
My body was like, no, it's so dry. And my throat was like, anyway. So I've been I did a meet and greet with a client today, and I tried so hard not to cough the entire time. And by the end, I was like whispering to her as I was at the door, trying not to just go into a massive coughing fit. I was like, I'm so sorry. It's my throat. I'm not sick. It's just, this is what happens to my throat this time of year.
It's true. It's the air. It's fine.
Yeah. So that's been that blast off of a thing today.
Oh, yeah.
And feeling, I don't know, energized, tired, whatever, with everything going on. But what's new with you?
I don't even know. It's program practice week. So
practice week.
I don't get to have consecutive class days ever in my life. And I'm grumpy about it.
What program is being practiced this week?
It's the choir Christmas winter holiday program extravaganza thing, I guess. I don't really know.
Is it have it's not a set theme or anything? It's just,
I mean, I don't remember what the theme is. There is one, I imagine. It has some sort of title. I don't know. She goes a lot with the stuff. It's a lot. And so I don't really know. I don't go to the practices, right? Sure. Because we have a 6th grade is split between, like, we have band kids, and band kids are not in choir. So during choir practice time, I just keep all the band kids in my classroom and we do activities and stuff. Because the alternative would be have 6th grade band members sit in an auditorium for like an hour and a half to 2 hours quietly. No, that's not happening.
Yes,
I
understand.
So I don't know what any of the songs are and stuff. So it's a surprise when I see it tomorrow. So that'll be. So we have to do that tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a fun-filled, exciting day of that. Wrangling children in the auditorium and all that kind of fun, exciting stuff. So we'll see how it goes. See if I survive that.
Nice.
But
how's your window update coming along?
It's still not done.
Okay.
My window is still incomplete. It was so cold in my classroom today. I just wore my coat all day when I was sitting at my desk.
Oh no!
It was so cold over there. I just wore my jacket. I planned for this, right? So today I did not have recess duty, right? Not that it was warm enough to go outside to recess anyway, but in the event that it was, Wednesdays, I have workroom. So anybody who's missing stuff just comes to my room and they can work on it during that time, right? Okay. Like a catch-up time stuff. So Wednesday is my workroom day. So I specifically planned, it's like, I'm not going to take my big coat, but I'm going to take this smaller one. It's one of those like flannel jackety things that Dad got me, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it's like one of the insulated, like big insulated, like flannel jackets. It was like a flannel shirt, but like quilted almost, right? Anyway, I was like, I'm wearing this today just so I could wear it inside and it will be comfortable.
That's amazing.
So even though my classroom heater is working and whatever, sitting at my desk, like grading or like doing lessons, like planning, like during my plan time and like during that workroom time when I'm just sitting there watching them, right? Like, and if they have questions, they can ask me, but like I just have to basically sit there and be like, are you working? Yes. Okay. Like, and lunch, when I was sitting at my desk eating my lunch, I wore my coat because it was It's so cold over this stinking window.
Yeah. Oh no.
It's so bad. So window update, there is none.
Is none. I mean, there is a window, right?
I mean, there's a window, but there's no update.
Yeah. Not what we were hoping for.
Yeah, no, still the same old window with the unfinished windowness. It's great. I love it. It's so wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the other bizarre. There's another strange thing that has happened. I don't really know how this occurred, but my home base has taken to hiding random objects in my classroom and seeing if the other classes can find them. And it's really hilarious because they couldn't today and they were going insane.
Oh no.
And it's like the most red I don't remember, somebody brought it. I think it was in their bag. They just found it in their backpack. It was it's Woody's cowboy hat. Yeah, don't ask me why, but that's what it is. You remember like the one that was with the like, I don't know, it's like a small one, right? It's like a smaller version of one, right? It's like a smaller Woody's cowboy hat. And they've just decided that is what we shall hide all about the classroom. We're just going to put it in really random spots and see if people notice it. Yeah, nice. I don't know how this happened exactly, but they decided this is what they're going to do, and I was like, okay, that's fine. That's kind of funny. So here we go.
That's very odd.
It is very odd. This is how sixth graders work. Very strange little people, but
sure.
It's been kind of funny. Watching the other kids go crazy and not be able to find things. It's very fun. So that's been my other entertainment this week, is that strange thing that's occurred. So
what other things have they decided to hide?
Well, it's mostly been that they fixated on this cowboy hat, but they were joking about like the elf on the shelf thing, right? And somebody brought in like an elf, not like it was just like a stuffed toy elf. It wasn't like one of those really creepy elf on the shelf things, right? But they were like, you should hide this too, and I didn't hide it because there's a kid who like, he teases about like, I'm gonna break all the rules, I'm the bad guy, right? Like that, he does that. He's not really, he's like a really good kid, but that's like the joke, right?
Yeah.
And so I somebody stuck the elf on his desk yesterday just to be like, they're watching you, buddy. And he didn't like that. He like jokingly, he was like, it was all playing, right? He was like, no, they can't see me, break the rules, blah blah. So today I stuck it on the ceiling right above his desk today, just so they.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yes, because he was like, if I see that on my desk tomorrow, I'm gonna throw it away. And so I was like, okay,
sure.
And so I stuck it on the ceiling right above his desk.
Check.
I basically made it like it was peeking out of the drop ceiling, right? I stuck it halfway in the drop ceiling, so it was like right above his desk, looking at him all day. So that was that was the other thing we've been doing, is that, because it's weird. It's a weird time this week because we can't have all this class because we got all this dead time where we just have choir practice for forever. So I don't get to have class.
Oh. Yeah.
This is why random things are happening in my life. It's very strange. It's a very strange time in sixth grade. It's very weird. I don't know.
Sounds like it. Sounds like an unknown time for everybody involved.
Really.
Well, they seem to be taking it well.
I mean, yes. I mean, at least it's mildly entertaining, I guess. So, although tomorrow morning, have to get in the right mindset because they sort of need the hammer brought down on them tomorrow morning. Because, yeah, it's that time of year where sixth graders have just decided, you know what? Being nice people is just not for me right now. So they've just been being horrendous to each other, and I'm over it. And the math teacher is definitely over it. She is like had it with them. So we're gonna have some talking time tomorrow where we're gonna be like, yo, listen, because we already had one group that had to talk to like the assistant principal, right? Because they're being dumb. And then the assistant principal made a general speech at lunch about kindness, and that didn't help. So they've been getting this message for a while now, and nothing is happening. So time to get a little more serious tomorrow. That's what.
Is it just to like one another, or
yeah, mostly.
What?
Yeah, mostly. We just like can't say anything nice to each other ever. Like everything we say has to be like an insult to somebody.
Wow.
I don't know why this is. It's one of those like the internet has lied to them and told them this is what humor is. Right. I think that's part of it. Right. This part of this, like TikTok has lied to them to be like, haha, these are jokes.
Yeah.
No.
And they're really jokes. Just hurtful or just mean.
Yeah. Right. And I understand that this is how, like, when you are young, this is how you talk to your friends, right? You talk to them like this is normal behavior, right? However, going to the lengths that some of them are going, right? This can very easily be misconstrued as not, right? And if you talk to somebody who's like not your like best friend who's like not in on the joke, this is going to be very hurtful. So we just have to talk about appropriateness and kindness and not being a stinking jerk all the time. Why? So that's tomorrow. I gotta get in the right mindset for this. Decide how shouty I'm going to be at them, right? Like pick my level here. Like, which Mr. Funkhauser character are we gonna be for this? Like, which one? What are we gonna go with here? What's gonna be the mood? Like, what?
Oh, I see. Oh.
So, gotta decide on the tone for this. See just how shouty we gotta be. So that'll be fun. See how that goes tomorrow. Yeah. It's a really hard one. I'm looking forward to this, right?
No.
And because it's not like it's definitely easier to have this conversation whenever there's like been an incident, right? Like a big one. You know, it's a little more difficult to have this conversation like generally sometimes, right?
Sure.
Be kind of hard. But
yeah. Of what you're going to do about it and to try and catch it early, I guess. But at the same time, you know, you don't want to jump the gun too much.
Yeah. And like this is definitely a conversation we've had to have before. Like not this year, like other years, right? Like some years you have to have these kind of conversations more than others, you know. And this year is one of the ones where it's more, right? Like just because of their attitudes, I guess. I don't really know. But it's been really weird. Like all of a sudden, like it wasn't too bad until like the last like month. And it's sort of just gone downhill in a hurry. And I don't really know why. I don't really know about any inciting incidents, right? Like I don't really know what changed exactly.
Interesting.
They just decided, nah. It's like almost they collectively decided, nope, jerk mode time. Let's just do that. That'll be fun. Like, no, stop it.
Right. No, that's not what we want at all.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because like as as a parent, those are interesting. I'm sure those are not, obviously not fun conversations to have. And with like student behavior, and now like, what do you do with that information? Coming from the Brandon, have to communicate that now with a parent. I'm sure at some point of like, this is what's going on, right?
Yeah, sometimes, right? A lot of times, whenever it gets to the levels where we're doing a lot of like one-on-one intervening, that's when it's moving to like principals or assistant principals. And so they will start communications. And then sometimes the parents will contact me like after they've talked to the principal. The principal will just like call them, like, listen up, your kid's being terrible. Like this was
sure.
So that's where it's hard too, of like, when is it, when do I contact the parents versus like, when is it administration going to be like, you know what I mean? Like that's the one that I have trouble with. Like who is making that communication, at the beginning? Like,
right.
Where does it happen? Like how far does that go? Like what's going on? That's the hard one. That's the one I have trouble with. Like, because I'm not really, I'm not the best at just like cold calling your parents like, hey, so your kid's a jerk.
Yeah.
Let's talk, right? Like it's a little tough, right?
Well,
like,
yeah. Nobody wants to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Like that's not fun for anybody, but it is one of those things.
And it's hard too, because some parents are like, you called me for that, leave me alone, right? Like some parents, it like, you kind of feel them out at that first parent teacher conference, because you're like, hey, this is what your kid's been doing in my class so far. And they go, yeah, that's just how they are. And then they don't say anything. You're like, oh, okay. That's how we're going to go. Okay.
Right.
Well, I can see you're going to be unhelpful. So don't call you ever. Like, I had one parent, I was like, your kid interrupts all the time and is constantly trying to talk over everyone in my class. And they're like, yeah, he does that. All right. Well, thanks. Anyway. But, oh my gosh, why?
Yeah, right. You're left going, okay, like now what? Because you can't.
Yeah, and it's some parents like joke. I had some parents that were joking, like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I know, I do that too, and we talk about it sometimes." That's fine. That's understand. That's fine. That makes sense. You handle it like that. It's okay. Everyone's going to handle that conversation differently. But the ones that are just like, yeah, I know, and then that's all they say. Like,
yeah.
All right, I guess
we'll just be here.
I'm just going to be doing this, and I won't call you because you're clearly not interested in.
Because you're not
anything that's happening. Yeah, not interested in being helpful in this particular instance. So
never mind. Yeah, and that's. And finding out that information for the parent, yes, is tough. What you're going to do. We were informed today by our youngest that one of the children in first grade was during one of their times just came over and like dumped some water on his head for no reason. And so it was like, well, hey, I have questions about what happened here. And this was like a common time that they have. So it wasn't with the first grade teachers. It wasn't with the second grade or the kindergarten teachers, with a different third party teacher where everyone was just kind of playing and together and observing. It was like, well, I've got to do some fact finding here. And obviously I can't come at this being like accusatory in any way, shape or form. But I do want to know what happened. And it was very frustrating because they didn't see it. And so then it was like, well, I don't know what to do with this information now. Other than just like, hey, don't go near that other kid. And if something happens, tell a teacher. And I feel like that's very unhelpful in those situations.
Well, I mean, no, it is very helpful because the reverse has happened to me before, where like a parent will message me about something and I'm like, all right, first of all, your child has never discussed this with anybody.
Right.
So I have no idea what you're talking about, right? Like they hit you with that. They were like, my kid said this happened today. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. They neglected to tell me. Or any of the other teachers. the people that were able to help
Yeah.
in nearby, like that, that would be cool if that would, happen, right? Like that would be nice, because once it goes home and I'm hearing this from your mom, like there's not really a whole lot I can do about it, right? Like, well, it happened 9 hours ago. What I'm a little behind here. What, like
Yeah. And I want to make sure that we get like a proper understanding of what happened, and try and get everybody on the same page of like, this is not cool, right? And equip with a little bit more information and knowledge on everybody's part, and then just kind of make sure we're moving forward. Like that's my big goal. And just see, because otherwise nothing's going to change. So just kind of speaking up at first is really the important part. But it's one of those aspects of like, well, I can't do anything more beyond that. So we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah. And so that's another little wrinkle that happens sometimes. It makes these situations difficult to deal with, right? Just like, yeah, throw them in there and nail you. So that's fun. But so we'll see how tomorrow goes. See what happens. And okay, here we go. We're gonna switch topics to something slightly more lighthearted.
That's fine.
Something else I learned today. All right, now, there are many things that you will hear decried in the news media about kids don't know how to do XYZ, right?
Okay.
You can think of a lot of things. Read cursive, right? Use an analog clock. Okay. We've talked about both those things on the show before. Indeed. A little bit. One of those things is not useful at all, and who cares? The other one is kind of important, kind of interesting, but cursive is whatever. Today I learned that this year's sixth graders have absolutely no idea how to make paper airplanes.
What?
Yeah. Not expecting that. This is not a thing that has ever come up before. Most of the kids know relatively how to do something, right? We did, because we had off time today. Part of our time filler was paper airplane contest.
Of course.
A perennial favorite.
Yes.
Because we can spend some time making it, and then we can spend more time going out to the hallway and flinging a paper airplane down the hallway. Who doesn't want to do that?
Who doesn't?
But I had a seemingly abnormally large number of children in my classroom today say things like, I have never made a paper airplane before.
Say.
And I went, what? How? Right? This is my official old man moment, right? Just turned 38. Just realized I graduated high school 20 years ago.
Yeah, when you say it like that.
And apparently the art of making paper airplanes died in my childhood, right? Who knew?
Who knew?
This was
Who knew? But
because every once in a while there's like one, that are like, oh, I don't really know, or I don't really remember. And so they always try to look up some kind of like crazy airplane design, right? Which is fine. That's, the whole point, use your iPads, look up. There's like only 500 different ways to make paper airplane.
Right.
It's fine. But normally it's like, oh, I know how to make the basic one, or I've made this before, but I don't really remember. So I'm going to look up the directions real quick. Like that's understandable, right? But apparently the paper airplane making skill just gone. No more. Not a thing that happens anymore. Who knew? Not me. Right. No. Again, because I do this all the time. I think I've done this the last like 4 years. Maybe 3 anyway. And like last year, I don't remember this being a problem. I don't know. It's very odd.
I wonder.
It's very odd. Caught me off guard. I was very surprised. Like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah. Wonder where that comes from.
I have no idea. Right? I guess like when you think about it, this isn't a skill that you like need.
No.
You know what I mean? Like this never comes up as like important. You're not going to be on like Survivor and be like, oh my gosh, my paper airplane making skills are finally coming in handy.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
You know what I mean? But like, it's odd that it's never come up before.
Sure.
I thought that was really weird. It's like, this is very, very strange indeed. I don't know what to make of this. I'm so confused right now.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where kind of like, analog clock and writing in cursive. And I know a big one for many entrance exams into kindergarten and first grade is like idea or concept of money and coin identification. Like that's a big one, right? That's one where both of my kids did not do well on their entrance exams to get into the school. And I quickly wrote that off like, well, that's ridiculous because I literally don't ever have physical money on me. So I think they're going to be fine.
I mean, yeah.
But you do take a minute. I think it is important at each one of those steps to step back and go, okay, what's being lost, right? And is it being accounted for somewhere else? So, when someone says, oh, I don't know how to make a paper airplane, or I don't make paper airplanes, or I don't have that, like, is there some sort of, problem solving, creativity, that, trial and error kind of process that's not being accounted for somewhere else that is teachable through the making of a paper airplane? I think in many aspects there's things like, I think of something like Minecraft, like that is that kind of thing is very popular with kids, and that's nothing but exploration, creativity, problem solving, all sorts of stuff built in that. It's just different and from a different medium.
So, yeah, I really can't think of anything because most of the time when you are making paper airplanes, like, you're usually following directions anyway, right? That's how you learn how to make them.
Well, yeah.
And then you're sort of memorizing. I suppose there could be some level of fine motor skill, right? Because you have to fold quite precisely. But
sure.
That's probably not such a big deal, right? Like,
I'm not saying any of this is a big deal by any stretch of the imagination. That's definitely not what I'm getting at. I think that it's interesting for me to think about at each stage of those things of going, is something lost? Like I think, or is something not being captured? Not saying that you can't progress through a proper adolescence and into adulthood having not made a paper airplane. Like, it's not that kind of thing, but it's going, what is this thing teaching? What does it expose them to? And sure, I'm sure sometimes you go, well, absolutely nothing. This is just completely pointless. But it's just an interesting thought experiment.
True. But I think, the old paper airplane you do have that small element of like, because they are like, you make one and then you can relatively quickly make another one, right? You could mass produce them very quickly, right?
Yes.
You can go through the process of refinement and doing small variations on themes, right? Because you can have one paper airplane and then you can like fly it and go, it does not fly very good. What if I did this instead?
Yes.
Right.
Knowing nothing about aeronautics or anything along those lines. Yeah.
Or just be like, what happens if I fold this wing different and then just like fling it again and see? Right. It's like a very immediate way of doing that process, right? Of thinking about that engineering kind of idea of going, that was bad. Let me make another one real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then in, a minute, you have another one that is slightly different, right? You do the thing where you like fold up the edges, or you you do your final crease further down so that your wings are wider, or you do some other thing. I don't know.
Yeah, you really make that maybe a really long, super narrow nose.
Like the nose, right?
Yeah. Right. You can change that short and blunt versus or whatever.
So that you have so that you have the wings, like you can do that thing where you make the wings kind of start further down the body.
Yeah.
Right. So you can have like the classic one that you see a lot where it's like it tapers directly from the point and just starts going backwards from there,
Yep.
or you can have like basically a nose cone of varying lengths and start your fold at different spots, right? So it looks more like some sort of fixed wing aircraft. I don't know, like a SR-71 or something, and do it that way,
Yeah.
So you can do those like small variations relatively quickly and kind of think about that process. So that would be the only thing that I would think of, like kind of that like learning through play. Like, well, why didn't it go very far?
Yeah.
Let me do this again, and we just like fling some more paper airplanes and see what happens, right? So that would be the only thought that I would have, that maybe, but you can also get that in other places as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that would be that. So yeah, that's what I learned today.
Nice.
All that. There we go.
So what was it like teaching them how to make a paper airplane, or what was that process like?
Oh, I didn't teach them anything. I said you have 10 minutes to make a paper airplane.
Oh,
Go.
I love it.
Boom. And so they did. They were looking up things or trying to remember things or seeing how it went, right? After I surveyed and realized that people were unsure about how making paper airplanes went, I said, okay, now you have 10 minutes. Use whatever you want.
Sure.
They're like, can we look it up? I was like, well, yeah, that's what you have the thing for. So do it. And then
yeah. Use this.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a skill, I guess, looking up something and following directions.
Hey.
Yeah.
I have said time and time again that knowing how to effectively get new information is way more important most of the time in life than being able to recall it immediately from the top of your head.
True.
I mean, one of the simple things that we would do is, when I was tutoring, it would be just introducing people to like the back of a book, right? Like, oh, let me show you to the index and what that is. Like that would blow a lot of students' minds, because they're like, what is this? Well, I've never.
That's true. Yeah. This year I did a lot more time in talking about like, this is the glossary. Because that's very useful for like my class in general, because we do have some times in social studies where like we need to know what these words are.
Yeah.
Right. Like we don't always. So like when we do read from the book, right, I have them do the end of chapter questions sometimes, right, just because it's there and it's something for us to do. It's a way to build background knowledge, right? So sometimes we do definitions, sometimes we don't, depending on what they are. Like, okay, these words are not really that important and we'll get the meaning later, and sometimes like, no, these ones in this chapter are it's usually like the first chapter, right, like the first one of the unit. Like these are the keywords that we're going to see a lot, and we're going to use them a lot, and we're going to focus on them a lot. Write these down, right? Like, so like telling about, this is the glossary, this is how the glossary works. I have a big sign that says glossary page 720 on my cabinet where the books are.
That's perfect.
So that they can be like, aha, yes.
Well, I just noticed it whenever I was tutoring college students, and it'd be like, define blah 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 on a study sheet or something, and they would be like, one page at a time through the chapter, be flipping to find the word, and then on the next one it would be like, define this new term, and they just start back at the beginning of the chapter and flip slowly through it. I was like, let me hold on, just flip all the way to the back and see this place. This is all alphabetical. Go.
Yeah, that's much better, right? It's much more useful, right? I do fall into that trap of being like, I swear it was on one of these 2 pages, and then I like will refuse to use index, right?
Oh, yes.
But
Yes, because I
could have found out already, and I'll be like, no, it was right here. I remember reading it.
It's in the left-hand side, upper corner.
Yeah. And then I'm like skimming the page like over and over again. Right?
Kind of close to a photo, I think.
And it always turns out it was on the next page.
Next page. Yeah.
Dang it.
You're like, well, anyway.
Yeah, I do that too sometimes, but it's all right. So that. So what have you been up to this week? That was my week, basically. Preparing for programs.
Yeah.
Not knowing how paper airplanes work. And being jerks. What have you been up to? Hopefully better than that.
Well, I mean, Monday, we only had so I had spent basically almost all of last week and through the weekend in Springfield doing visits. I didn't tell you. On Friday, I myself had 13 visits in Springfield. That was just me, and I had 4 other staff members working and doing other stuff around both locations. And Saturday I had the same number, and then Sunday I just had a few in the morning, so I was able to come back quickly that afternoon. And so I hadn't seen. For 5 days. I was gone for about 5 days. And so Monday, we just had one dog getting dropped off at our house for daycare. And I went, we are having no dog dropped out of our house for daycare. We're canceling that, apologizing profusely. And then we're going to go spend a day doing something else as a family. And so we canceled that and drove into Kansas City for the day, and literally woke up, ate breakfast, and we're still eating breakfast, headed into Kansas City at like 7 a.m. and we were like, what are we going to do? And
generally that is something that you decide before you leave, but you know, sometimes it's important to just go, right?
Headed in a general direction. We knew we needed to stop at a Target maybe somewhere in the day, but that was literally it. That was the only like hard to find we're doing this kind of thing. And we ended up I was like just trying to figure out what to do, and then I was like, we're going to the zoo. Kids haven't been to the zoo. I don't think I've been to the Kansas City Zoo in like eons, if ever. And so
I don't know if I've ever been to the Kansas City Zoo.
No, I really don't think I have. So I was like, Google Maps, boop, boop, beep. Let's go to the zoo. Showed up 10 minutes after it opened. They open at 9:30 every day of the week. And we were off to the races. Like, we just marched up, bought our tickets, and started walking. And, the kids, having never been to the zoo, were like, what are we doing here? And I was like, well, listen. We're going to do a lot of walking. We're also going to stare at things and not see any animals most of the time.
It was a little cold Monday.
It was.
So some of them were probably like, nope, not coming out here, buddy.
But I mean, the zoo, Kansas City Zoo, I forget how old it is. I mean, it's mid 1800s, late 1800s. One of the buildings there is the original building, and it was at one time when they first opened, the entire zoo was the building. And
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yes, it's pretty cool. And now they've turned that into their tropical portion of the zoo. And so
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And so it just feels it feels weird. This isn't a review of the Kansas City Zoo. It was perfectly fine. It was a zoo. Except in as much as it is a review. But the one thing that I was like, when I found out, I was like, we are buying this, was their all access wristband to their like tram system. Okay.
Oh, sweet. There we go.
Yes. This is like with one wristband, like you could piecemeal it. It was like, now I can ride the train anywhere I want to go. I can ride their tram anywhere I want to go. I can ride the carousel as many times as I want. I can ride the sky safari as many times as I want. If the boat was operational, because it's not in the middle of winter, I could have ridden the boat as many times as I want.
That boat would probably be sick, though.
They do a boat tour of their safari, of their African safari, from a boat. Where you
yes,
where you can be like in a boat, pointing over to the shore, being like, look, onyx and gazelle and zebra and a wildebeest, and there's a rhino from a boat. And they're just like on the shoreline. So
yeah, that's pretty sweet, right?
So I was like,
that's the way to go.
It was like, first off, like, we are definitely riding the train because it just circumvents the whole, circumnavigates the entire park. So you can kind of see a little bit here and there as you go along, and it makes one stop, whatever. I was like, that's like, that alone is worth it to ride the little miniature train. Of course it is. But then you're telling me,
and Noah was going, it's absolutely worth it. Let's get on this train. Let's go.
As soon as he saw there was a train, he was like, we're riding the train. And I was like, I know, we're riding the train.
Why do we think we're walking this way?
I know.
That's why.
They do have a neat part when you're in the Australian part where you open a double-sided gate and then you're just in there among free roam kangaroos.
Hey, that's cool.
And
are they like the little ones, the little like wallaby ones?
Well, we didn't have it wasn't free roam wallabies, but we did see the wallabies. But this was like red kangaroos.
Oh, wow. The big ones.
The big ones. And they're just like free roam around you. Now, they were all sunning themselves on a hill, but had they so chosen, they could have just walked alongside us and like we could have pet them, kind of thing.
That's what, whenever I was at we went to like a little zoo in Australia, and that's what they had, like the little wallaby ones. So the ones that are like a foot and a half tall, right?
Yeah.
I just turned around and it was just sitting there on a rock looking at me. And like, oh, yeah. Hello. I was okay.
So we got, we did a little walk tour through that. They have a little sheep barn demo area, because sheeping is big in Australia.
Oh, yes.
And so they have a little demo area with sheep and a little thing, and walk through there. Got to see a lion up close and an orangutan up close, and got to see the penguin exhibit. Was a lot of fun because then we got to see them diving and swimming around and going super fast, which the kids just absolutely loved. Got to touch the stingrays, which was a huge hit. Like, and the lady was like, "Who's touching stingrays?" And I definitely had my hand up first before.
I gotta beat the kids. Boom! Take that.
And she was like, "And if you actually touch one, you can get a sticker." And I was like, "It's on." I was like, "Okay." So I did have to keep reminding Noah to not use both hands.
Yes.
Where he was just like full on, like just
in the water, like
in the water. He had short sleeve shirts and the sleeves were soaked. That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's all. Any more, and he would have just literally been swimming with the stingrays, which is fine. But we did that, and then one of the things of like, you can go to the African safari, but it was like a really, really long walk, or you could ride a tram. And I was like, well, I have purchased the all access, transportation.
So here we go, tram.
Tram we go. And I'm so glad we had that because obviously we could have walked. It would have been fine. It would have just really lengthened the amount of time we would have spent out there. And nobody wants to walk like this many, like it's a long way. Like you have to cross a river, a literal river over a massive bridge to get to this aspect of the park.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's like way separated away from everything. So the tram is very nice. And then when we got there, it was like, well, we could walk around and see stuff, but it was like, no, air tram right now. We just got off from the boring landlocked tram and went to go fly through the skies. And it was literally one of those ski lifts that you sit that just constantly moves.
Oh yeah.
Literally never stops. And it just takes you like, I don't know, 80 feet above the ground, and you just go at a little nice steady pace, and you have a little umbrella above you, and you look down below and you can see, oh, look, there are the gazelle and wildebeest and zebra, just literally below you as you're flying out over them. And you can look out across and you can see them running, and they're over here, and there's a lake over here. And it would have been more exciting had the giraffes been out. But I learned that giraffes, obviously, as many animals from Africa, for very obvious reasons, aren't very cold tolerant.
Surprise.
And giraffes are some of the least cold tolerant of them all, and it has to be like 70 degrees before they can go out. So
they have a lot of surface area that will get cold, right? That blood's got to go a long way from their heart. So they're going to be like, oh no.
Oh no. So, but you would fly right over that area of them. So you could see them like galloping and gallivanting beneath you as you fly over their head. It was really cool to go do that. Way fun. And you get off on that end. Then they have chimpanzees just on a hillside. And here's the thing that kept kind of broke my brain is this is an old school kind of zoo where they were just like, I'm going to put a fence around this landscape and I'm not going to change the landscape. So the chimpanzee exhibit, they just have the massive concrete wall around an oak hickory forest.
And
then you look out and you see a gang of chimpanzees marching through the forest, and your brain is like, my brain literally was panicking because I was like, if I was in the woods and saw this coming towards me,
I would freak out, run away.
I would die. I would be so scared. And it was just this clash of like a chimp, and there's an oak tree and like a bush. And then they were climbing the oak trees. And that was really trippy to see a barren oak tree and a chimp just shoot straight up it, sitting up in the high trees, and like squirrels jumping around. And I was like,
that is kind of odd. It's like a very uncanny valley of like, this is wrong and odd to look at. Right?
Yes. This is exactly the uncanny valley nature of it all, of like, it was very extremely familiar, but just totally not. All in the same swoop. Kind of same thing when we went to go see the hippos. They were just kind of in a tub, not in a tub, but like in an area with like oak leaves, sitting on the water surface, and then like playing with the oak leaves. I'm like, this is weird, very odd. And then they have the African safari cats section. And this part is the part that I suddenly felt very, like odd. And like because you walk over a gangplank and then through a little covered bridge. And then it comes to a part where, I don't know, 40 years ago, they were like, we're going to make this like a African safari rock outcropping, made out of that plaster material.
Okay.
Okay. And you're walking through, and it's very claustrophobic because they didn't make this for the hundreds of thousands of people that attend the zoo, and they've never updated this. And so it just felt suddenly very old and extremely close. And then around like every big rock outcropping would be a window, and there'd be a massive cat or whatever in there. And then you kind of wind your way around feeling like you're lost, or like in a part of town that you're not supposed to be in, because one window would be boarded over with like, coming soon written underneath it or whatever. And then it's all cracking and not well upkept. And then they're like, oh, and there's a lion. So
no.
That part, I was like,
because you want cracking window and lion in the same sentence. That's what you want.
The window wasn't cracking, but like that faux rock, whatever it
wall.
is.
Yeah,
that they used to make it look like that. If it was very like, I don't think we should be here. Like, this seems sketchy. So, like, this is the not updated part of the park, I can tell. So
true. You definitely don't want not updated and lions together either, right?
No. And then like we kind of retreated from there
in the darkness. I know what those lions are doing.
I know. So we retreated from there,
capable of
back across the covered bridge, more towards like civilized part of the area, and said goodbye to the chimps, and and then took the SkyTram back across, and they definitely have big signs everywhere that was like, dropped items will not be retrieved today, like an all in bold. Basically, like, yeah, I understand you dropped your cell phone. We'll get to it.
There's a lion down there, so
exactly. It's pretty much what they say. But it was neat. I hadn't been on one of those things since we went skiing as a family years ago, and I was pretty nervous. I was
a long time ago.
yes. I was very nervous about getting on these because you they don't stop, right? You just have to sit down,
sit on it,
keep walking, like just put your feet down and walk off the side and stuff. And granted, it's a little bit easier when you're not in ski boots or skis to do this maneuver. But still, it's like it's a little nerve wracking because it's like then it just goes boom, and takes you like straight up across the high wire. But that was our favorite part. We got to end on that and then come back home, and that was a lot of fun. So highly recommend.
That's pretty awesome.
All access tram passes
are the key to victory.
No, they really are. Of like, did we see all of the park? Did we go to every single possible exhibit? No,
but you could have.
We could. We could have. But we were already there for over 6 hours. Right. And we didn't see everything. So next time we go, we're going to have to focus on the tropics and a little bit places to the southern border of the park.
Because you missed the first time.
Yeah, we missed that because we spent so much time in Australia, and then we did the Arctic and did the penguins, and then we had lunch, and then was like, okay, like we probably need to. So we took the tram around in Africa, and that's where we spent the rest of our time. Then we came home because it was tiring, and it wasn't a pleasant day to be outside. It was 50s, but it was a lot of wind, so it felt really cold. So I highly recommend that. And that was the other part, is it's winter, so they're a lot slower, which is in one aspect nice, because I couldn't imagine being in that park with just throngs and throngs of people, because it's a very old zoo, they didn't expand enough to really keep a lot of those traffic flows good for a lot of people. So it'd be very overwhelming to be there in like the peak season. But so not a lot of people there. We had most of the park to ourselves, but that means that a lot of the animals weren't out. So we had a lot of those signs of like, where am I? It'd be a little sign hanging in the middle of the big viewing window, and it's like, where am I? Due to weather, I am, staying warm inside. See me in the spring.
Yeah, that's true.
So that kind of wasn't.
But that'd be a good thing about, going back to like a lot of times the tropical stuff it's inside anyway. So
right,
it's more accessible year round because it's already in a building. So
yes, had we planned this out a bit more, other than like literally just driving in the morning of to figure out what we're going to do. We would have gone to the tropics and done the indoor building stuff more than all the outdoor viewing spaces.
Sure.
Because then I was like, oh well, maybe they'll have, because some of them did have inside viewing areas. But for things like, I remember, and I think it's still this way, like the Springfield at Dickerson, that you can go see the inside giraffe area and elephant area when they're inside. Like you can walk through that part.
Yes, in the barn thing. It's like a big, it looks like a big shed, but it's like a huge building, right?
Yes, but that was part of your path. Like you could choose to go through that.
I think there's another part where they go though that's not, that you don't walk through. Right?
Yes, I think there's private,
like the backstage area, right, or whatever it's called, like the But in the barn, there's that shed thing where they're in there sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's correct.
So this doesn't have that.
I remember
access.
that building smelling
horribly. Yeah, and that was another thing. The kids kept asking, "What's that smell?" And I was like, "Oh yeah,
poop."
By the way, zoos. Here are the 3 things you need to know about zoos. We're going to walk a lot. We're not going to see all the animals, and it's going to smell like poop the entire time.
Yeah.
Let's go have fun. We had a blast. It was a lot. It was really cool. But because of the size of this zoo, a lot of their barns are kind of off property, and they walk the animals down paths in between places to get them to their outdoor viewing areas.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. And so you have to like herd the giraffes through this kind of winding path to get here. And same thing with like the camels. Like they're off their backstage staging area you didn't have access to. So they have to walk through these gated areas to get to the outdoor viewing area. So a lot of that stuff was just behind the scenes. It's
that's pretty interesting though.
Yeah, it makes it interesting.
I'm just imagining herding giraffes. I can't imagine that going well, right? Like, who would not want to herd a giraffe? Like, a giraffe could just straight up kill a lion. Like, I'm not herding that. No.
Well, yeah. Or they have to herd.
Walking behind a giraffe. Get out of here.
They have to herd the rhinos to get to their viewing area.
Nope.
Yeah. So
rhinos can't see anything and they're grumpy. So I'm not about that life either.
Yeah.
I'd make a terrible zookeeper. Like, walk this rhino. No.
No. You. Where's my tank?
Yeah, right. Like, do the lizards need any help? Are we good in there? Like, where's the fish tank at? I can go there. Next, you tell me, gotta walk the bear down this pathway. No, I don't. No. Sounds like a pretty fun day, though.
No, it was a lot of fun. We all really enjoyed it. It was very nice. It was very good. The kids were super excited. They had an opportunity to possibly go to the zoo with their entire school, and I'm glad we didn't do that. Because I can't imagine trying to do what we did with 50 other people.
Oh yeah, it's much more. Yeah,
from their school.
It's your first time at the zoo, right? It's a little more.
Yeah, well, it's just like, and we could move at our own pace and skip huge swaths, and
that's true.
And just like dart out and go do stuff. Again, I'm sure for the kids it would have been nice to have been there with their friends to experience some of that, but just like pacing wise and like time spent at the zoo, because that meant we could just be like, we're going to chill in this building and play on the swing sets or play on the climbing gym or go down the slide a lot. And then we're going to go, skip past some of these other animals that we've kind of seen things like them and to get to a different part. So
yeah, that's true. Because then, the problem with a large group is everybody wants to see something different. And so you get into like a crawl where you don't get anywhere, right? Because everyone's like, I want to see this. Like 4 people like, I want to see this thing. And so you have to wait for them. And then the next thing, 4 different people are like, I want to see this. And like, okay. All right, we've got to wait for this too. So you can't, there's not a lot of skipping happening. You can't, unless you say very clearly, like, this is our route. No crying about it, right? There's no.
Yes. Yep.
This is where we're going. Tough.
We're
tough tiddlywinks, right? Like,
yep. We're moving forward. Yeah, and onward. Exactly. So, we'll definitely be going back now. Megan, having grown up in St. Louis, is like, oh well, we need to go see the St. Louis Zoo because it's better than.
Well, also, isn't there like a super mega huge zoo in like Omaha, just like right there?
Yeah,
is that right? Am I making this up? This is correct, right? Like in Nebraska, in Omaha, Nebraska, isn't there a big zoo there?
Yeah, there's a big zoo in the Omaha's Henry Omaha Zoo. Yeah, there's a big zoo there.
Yeah, that's like a real big one too, and that one I think is supposed to be like really good. So that one is not like too far. That's not that far, much further north than Kansas City. So
no, it's not. Yeah, Omaha Zoo. Yeah. It's really big, and they also have a big like, geodesic dome for the arid environment, and they've got a underwater aquarium tunnel and a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So
there you go. You can do that one too. Add that to the list. Boom.
And now that we have our road tripping vehicle set up.
Oh, true.
Yeah, we're ready. Ready for this. I mean, well, okay. So it's quite a bit further than Kansas City.
Is it? How much further north is it?
Well, Kansas City Zoo is 1 hour and 23 minutes away from us. Omaha is 4 hours.
Omaha's that much further away?
Yeah.
I always feel like it's closer. Yeah. Anytime I drove up that way, it's like Kansas City, and then all of a sudden there's Omaha. Like, well,
there's not a whole lot on I-29
in the middle. That's true. I-29 sort of dies after Kansas City.
In between,
nothing else.
You get into Platte. You coast through Platte City, and then you wake up in Omaha.
That's true. After Omaha, there's basically nothing until Fargo. So like,
well, there's Sioux Falls.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, not a lot in Sioux Falls.
No.
Sorry, Sioux Falls listeners, but
wow, man. Yeah, man. It really is. It's
there's nothing else.
Then there's
nothing else.
Omaha 4 hours later, and then 4 hours. That's like 8 hours later. There's Fargo.
Yeah, Fargo is very far away.
I forget how far.
So far.
That's insane.
It's horrid. That's the worst.
Yeah.
We drove that. The first time I drove that, when we were in North Dakota, right, me and my friends drove to Canada for a camping trip after we graduated high school, right?
Yes.
And
as one does.
Literally, we're driving. We drove in North Dakota. We drove just like straddling the yellow line in the middle of the road for like 35 minutes. Because there was no other cars on the interstate. Zero. Right? We just drove right on that the white or yellow line, whatever, the dashed line between the two lanes. Just drove right on it. One tire in each lane because there was no other cars. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. There is no people here. What on earth is happening?
Yeah.
It was so weird.
That's bad.
I saw more people in New Mexico than I saw in North Dakota on the highway. Like, middle of nowhere, Arizona. There was cars on the road. Not in North Dakota. Nothing. There was nothing. What? Crazy.
How did that trip come about?
It was one of those things that we were like, hey, we should do this. And then we all went, okay.
Okay, makes sense.
And then we did. We just sort of decided that we were going to. So we just arbitrarily picked Winnipeg, Canada, kind of because it was a direct route. You could drive there directly on I-29, and there was campgrounds north of town. And we found out the last day when we were leaving that we were actually like not very far away from like a really big lake with like lots of stuff to do. Like, oh, dang it.
Could have done that. Instead, you spent your time in a bathroom drying out from the rain.
Yes, that's true. Once again, Canada summer weather lied to us because the forecast was like, oh, it'll be like, 60 to 70 degrees and it'll be fine. We got up there and it was 40 degrees and it rained for 3 days. So the Birds Hill Providential Park bathroom is very lovely. It's the cleanest campground bathroom I've ever seen in my entire life. They have an excellent hand dryer that is capable of drying out your sleeping bag. Just in case you're curious, listeners.
They probably thought through that. I'm sure that wasn't their first rodeo.
But yeah, that was one of those things like, well, let's just do it. And then we did. We explored Winnipeg. Very nice. We did some camping and just like random stuff. We toured the Royal Canadian Mint. Yeah, very lovely.
Yes.
We learned about the process of making Canadian coins.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure very different than everyone else's process.
It was actually
process.
It was actually pretty sweet. I liked it. We did. The coolest part was so Canada they have the $2 coins. They're in the $2 coin club, right?
Yes.
And so they have the machine that makes the $2 coins is really cool because it's actually two different discs of metal that are put together.
Yeah,
so the outside disc is the silver one, right?
And the gold,
and the gold's in the middle. So the outside disc is silver, and then there's so it looks like a donut, right? The blank is a donut. So it's outside the disc, and then there's a hole in the middle, and in that around the hole on the inside, there's a groove cut into the side of it, right? So that when they put in the gold part in the middle is slightly thicker. Than the silver blank. So when they press it, it actually presses into the inside of the thing, sealing it all together when they press the die to mint the coin.
Wow.
So it's a 2-stage process. You're actually pushing these two, like mechanically pushing these two pieces of metal together and stamping the coin at the same time. That machine was really sweet. I like that. Looking at the dies and the stuff in there was really nerdy and awesome. So it was really cool to watch him do that. That's really cool.
Huh. Okay, well there you go.
I learned that. That was fun. And I also learned that there's nothing in North Dakota. That's what I learned.
Yeah. Shouldn't have been all that surprising, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. This is also the trip where I saw the best sign I've ever seen in my entire life. When we were crossing the border into Canada, right? First of all, at least 20 years ago, Canadian border people, nicest people in the universe, right? They're so great. Except for they're really confused. Like, we were driving my friend's car, and they we didn't think about this before we got there because they were like, "Whose car is this?" They're like, "Is this your car?" Because I was driving. I was like, "No," and he was like, he freaked out a minute. He's like, "Whose car is this?" I was like, "It's his." And he's like, "Well, why isn't he driving?" He's like, "Because we've been driving for 14 hours.
Yeah,
we're tired." And he was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense. Never mind."
Yeah, fair.
But they have this big old sign in the building. There's this big list of things that is not permitted across the border. Right? And at the top of this list is sea turtles.
For somebody who's just driven through North Dakota.
Yeah, right. You just drove all the way through North Dakota.
Context is key here, people.
Thousands of miles from the sea, and they're no sea turtles. You're
they're really concerned about that southern border.
We all looked at that
ring. Oh my gosh!
What? We were so confused.
Yeah.
What on earth is happening?
Well, boys, we've been. Oh no, we've our plans have been foiled. Turn around.
It's the best sign I've ever seen.
Okay,
no sea turtles allowed in Canada.
Well, but it makes you it's one of those things. Did you learn the it's there for a reason, right?
Why? Yeah. Who is bringing sea turtles into Canada? Through North Dakota.
I need more of a story here, people. Right? It's I really need.
Dude, there's some context. There's some context here that we're missing, and I want it because it sounds really intriguing. What is going on?
Right? I need to know this. I need to know the story of the great sea turtle smuggling ring of the 30s or whatever. There is I need that in my life.
Yeah, especially after just the monotonous drive through North Dakota, seeing that sign going, what?
Am I
what?
We're all seeing the same thing, right?
Yeah, we're all looking at this, and what is going on? I don't know. What's
That's hilarious.
So that was great. That was a highlight of that trip for sure. No sea turtles allowed. And then coming back across the border, the American border people, super not nice, super grumpy.
Oh,
obviously, we were there in Canada to do nefarious activities.
Yeah.
He was like, what have you boys been doing? Like camping. And he was like, prove it. And my friend's like,
what?
You smell us right now? Like, look.
Second, don't, but yeah, do.
And it was like, how do I know you're telling the truth? Like, I don't know. It could be all the really dirty camping stuff in the trunk of the car. Could be a giveaway. Just saying. Likely that's
yeah.
Yeah, go smell those sleeping bags and tell me that we haven't been.
I mean, don't, because they're kind of a biochemical weapon
that's
at this
true.
point.
You might regret that choice, but if you did, yeah, go smell the trunk, and you'll just be like, okay, never mind. That is.
Well, that's like when I spent time in Montreal for some courses and some extra training, and I was in Montreal during the apparently it's just their annual like riots at banks that they do.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah,
for fun, and I was like literally leaving like the day of.
That's the French part of Canada. The French do that sometimes. They're just like, you know what? Let's have a good nice riot. It'll be exciting.
It's pretty much what that was, and they were like, I was leaving that day. It was like all for like college age students and all this stuff, and it was like, yep, I'm leaving. Don't. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I was worried that they were. It was all over the news of like people coming in from all across the globe to like take part in these and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, and here I am just trying to get out. Please just let me leave.
Just running this computer program on Fish. Okay.
That's all I'm here for.
I want that and some poutine, right? Yeah, that's all I want.
Did
really.
Have poutine.
I want
that's fine.
That is the great discovery, right? When you travel internationally, we can do more episodes on this later. Sure. But I just want to bring this up right now because we're on the subject here. When you travel internationally, you learn very exciting things. The first time I went to Canada, I had this like mind-altering experience where I ordered something with French fries, and the waiter looked at me and he said, "Ketchup, mayonnaise, or gravy?" And I was like, "What? What? That's an option,
right,
bro?"
Yeah. Like,
my life was forever changed by having gravy as the French fry condiment for the first time. This is by far just a superior choice in all regards, right? Like, what? Who? Ketchup? What? Get out! No, only gravy, right? Like,
you are relegated to second choice.
Yeah, I mean, I just usually eat French fries just like with no condiments, like dry, right? Because I don't like ketchup very much. But he was like, ketchup, mayonnaise, or gravy. I was like, first of all, the mayonnaise caught me off guard more than the gravy a little bit because I was like, what? But it's like, no, yes. He was like, I was like, yes, gravy. Yes, I would like that. Bring that over.
Actually, yeah, much like you're right. You're like, that's a possibility. Like I can do that here. That's a thing. Much like as we learned of options for preparing of egg include sandwich.
Yes, it does.
You are left with your world open to many new possibilities.
Yes, it's magnificent. So, listeners, if you have not eaten gravy on your French fries, you need to do this immediately. Right? It makes so much sense, right? You have mashed potatoes and gravy, French fries and gravy. That's where it's at, right? That is the bit. Now, I'm sure any listeners we have in like the South here in the United States are like, bro, you just put gravy on everything. Get out. but it's not like the Canadian gravy is not like a white gravy, right? Because in the South, a lot of times it's like a whiter gravy with like the chicken and the stuff, and you just have your friend. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's a very weird like brown gravy that's very delicious. So the Canadian gravy, whatever that is, to look up what that is, and then put that. That's what you want your French fry.
that's
good stuff. Yes. Oh, last thing. Okay. Side note. I remembered. I've been meaning to tell you this for like 3 weeks now.
Oh, okay.
I have received something in the mail a few months ago. I forgot I ordered this because I ordered it in like April. And then like it took forever. There was some printing things. It's a book, right? So there were some printing issues and I had to finish doing stuff and it got pushed back. Well, I showed up in like maybe a month and a half ago. I bought this from the Peace Corps as a fundraiser. Pretty rad. I bought a Ukrainian cookbook.
What?
Yeah. Yep, sure did. So, maybe over Christmas break time, we might have Ukraine week updates because we may be making some traditional Ukrainian dishes.
I think,
and I'm pretty kind of excited about this. So
I definitely think that when we are at Dad's house, there needs to be some taste testing of this.
I don't know. I haven't made anything yet. I just have the book, right? And I haven't had like a lot of time to do this, but I have it in my possession. So
good.
That just a small update for you.
Okay.
From all the way back in Ukraine week. Great episode, by the way. Go listen to it. I have procured a Ukrainian cookbook. It's like members of the Peace Corps like got the recipes from people that they were staying with when they were in Ukraine, like however many years ago, right?
Oh, that's cool.
And so they're like random like Ukrainian families recipes. So it looks great. The pictures look amazing. So this one
yeah.
I'm lamb. So that is an update there. So more updates on that potentially in the future.
I like this a lot. This is not have nothing to do with that. For the kids, and then the kids had a big Thanksgiving feast at their school, and their school's small enough that everybody's invited, and the whole school like prepares a meal for everybody. And there's a bunch of people who cook and whatever. And I got I got signed up to be part of that, and I was in the kitchen helping put stuff together, and I got to talk with some amazing people who are from Ukraine about being here. And as I have mentioned before, where I live has an extremely high population of people from Ukraine already, like prior to everything happening. Like it's just, it's one of the highest densely populated areas for people from that part of the world. And so it was very interesting to talk with her about like why here, what here gives them. And she said, what two things. Obviously, one, there's the community aspect of like everybody in Ukraine actually like knows of this area already as a place to come because they're already here.
That's true. That's kind of how it works, right?
It's
like my cousins, brothers that, like.
And two, they all want land. They all want.
That's true. Farming
they come from a farming culture, an agriculture society. So they were like, and they're not talking about like needing 50 acres, 100 acres. This lady, she was just like, we were looking for 5. We knew we could get everything we needed on like 5 acres, and we can find that here. And everybody's
that's true.
And then they're just
Central Missouri is a place for that. Yeah,
everybody's and so there's just like 5 acre, 5 acre, 5 acre, like, and they just have their own little like. And it really, really is a cloistered community of like, it's hard to get into those because they stay very much to themselves. They all shop at the same places, go to the same churches, very rarely talk to outsiders. They're very close knit in that aspect. And they're very self-reliant and very, I'll grow this, you'll grow that, and we'll trade and do that kind of stuff. So because that system of support is already here, that's one reason why people continue to come here, because they have that, and it helps them.
It's like a softer landing, right?
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Which I thought was very cool.
It is very
but anyway, cool. I'll throw that in there, and then we'll do our cookbook update.
So at some point in the future. Hopefully soon, but we'll see. See how it goes.
Okay. I'm loving this.
Yeah, me too. I got my eye on that borscht recipe, right? So we'll see.
Yes, please. Okay. No, we'll leave it there. Leave it.
All right.
Suspense. Look, we learned so much today.
We did indeed.
Still so much to so until next time.
Yes.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.